Well, welcome to the West Sports Show. As we enter opening round, I'm excited. This episode is brought to you by TabTouch. The more you know, the better it gets. Download the TabTouch app today. Real punters play here. What are you really gambling with? And don't forget to sign up to footy tipping with the game. Every round, the top tipper wins $1,000 thanks to Thirsty Camel. And the season's top tipper wins $50,000 thanks to TabTouch. Sign up now at thegame.com.au. We'll include a link in this episode's description. I am joined by the great Mitchell Woodcock. How are you, Mitch?
Hello, the great Glen Quartermain.
Excited?
No, I'm well. I'm so excited. Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm half excited.
Because it's only an opening round and
we only
the
have
Eagles and
half
Dogs aren't
games.
playing. So let's just start with that. Is it fair? So we got to wait till round 2 for the Eagles and Dockers fans to be able to see a game in Western Australia. I understand why they want to put the northern states on the map, and I'm all for opening round 1 with games in Sydney and Queensland, but I think we should roll it all out into one round. The buys are difficult, and as suggested, we don't get to see a game in Western Australia till round 2. Aside from that, 3 of the 4 teams, it's just unfair, Mitch. 3 of the 4 teams that played in opening round last year won their round 1 games against teams that didn't play in opening round. Sydney losing by 4 points to eventual Premier Brisbane was the exception. And in contrast to that, Freo's results in their past 4 games where they haven't played a game the previous week, lost by 67, lost by 78, won by 6, lost by 1. The win was against North Melbourne at Optus after last year's mid-season bye, where they sneaked over the line thanks to a late Luke Jackson goal. Interesting here, Mitch, before I get your thoughts, at Freo's launch this morning, Alex Pearce was asked about it, and he said, look, it doesn't bother me. He said, everyone asked me about it. He said, for me, I get to see the team we're going to play a week early, and that is Geelong, of course, at GMHBA, and you also get to have a look at these new rules that are being meted out by the AFL this year. But I just don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's right, and I think they need to rethink it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's got a mix, really, isn't it? Like Alex's points are great there. They're able to, do this assessment, but, you get a week more games, but, do the Dockers and Eagles get a week more rest? It's all sorts of complicated. You know what I can't see what's the problem is why don't you put a derby on a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock local time here?
100%.
Like, that's 6 o'clock over in the eastern states, so it's still good for people over there who want to watch it because of the time difference with daylight savings. And you kick off in WA with the biggest game in the West, annual opening round WA game. Like, I can't see why you couldn't have done it. Obviously, this year, I think with the soccer and the Asian Cup, there's a bit of technical stuff going on with, facilities and that. So maybe, this is a one-off where you couldn't, but I can't see why you shouldn't be able to do it.
Wasn't last year, though.
No.
It's a compromise draw made inequitable even further. So,
but it's always going to be compromised until we go to
Tasmania.
17 rounds or 18 when they come in and everyone
well, I
plays
think
each other
they'll
once.
have to, when Tasmania comes in, they will look at it, and I think there'll be a change to the fixturing. There has to be.
But they're not going to take away games. They've just added wildcard round.
But they need to look at this sort of stuff. And I mean, opening round, you would assume that opening round would include Tasmania. The anomaly here too is, okay, if your argument is steadfastly on Northern States exposure, and I get that they get boosts in memberships and everything, that's great. Why St Kilda Collingwood?
Exactly. And the other one is, I think I heard somewhere, and I should have researched this before I came on, I don't think there's a game in Sydney for another week or 2 afterwards anyway. So you boost it up with this game, and then there's no game at the SCG for 2 or 3 more weeks.
Round 1, both WA teams travelling. I think it's not good enough. It's been a long summer. People are desperate for footy. We're not going to get any here for a couple of weeks. So,
well, we had a State of Origin, obviously, but I think that really just whet the appetite.
Yep.
I was at both pre-season games at the weekend quarters. They were packed. So footy's right on the edge here, and I think WA fans, they're going to enjoy watching the games, but I think they're just going to be a little bit annoyed that there's nothing for them, the West Coast and Freo fans specifically.
Mitch, when you're on the go, save big bucks at Thirsty Camel Bottle Shops. Shop the way you want, online and in store. There's exclusive Camel Club prices, so join the club. Head to the website or download the Thirsty Camel app today. Speaking on clubs on the edge, the Eagles. I think most people have got them in their bottom 3, which is fair enough. They're a very young list. But, gee, there's an injury list that is mounting heading into round one.
Yeah, they've pushed them very hard this off-season quarters. And
So this is under the new
back.
fitness guru, Phil Merriman, who crosses from Fremantle, okay?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep, and they're starting to push them. They've pushed them, the whole preseason. It's starting to wear thin on the bodies. So I'll go through them basically from the biggest one downwards as best as I can. The first one is Brandon Starcevich, the key recruit from Brisbane, dual premiership defender. Dealt with a bit of an ACL strain over the preseason. There's obviously these concerns around all the concussions, but at the moment it's a calf issue that's causing him a lot of havoc. So didn't play the 2 practice games because of the calf issue. Then trained strongly on Wednesday up until the first ball movement drill, and then just walked off or jogged off. Spoke to the medical staff. They tried to hide him behind a little corner there, and then he just got up and walked straight off the ground. And we were told later on that it was the same calf that he's injured before. He had a bit of calf awareness, and he was off for scans last night. We're yet to hear any results from West Coast, but Brandon Starcevich, I think he's effectively ruled out of round one. I think he's done.
Harry Edwards, now, one of the linchpins of their defence now. He's going to be really tight with his concussion protocols entering. I think he gets clear about 2 days before if he goes through all the 11 steps in the 12-day process.
Yeah, so I got to training yesterday before open training and saw him just walking end of a lap and walking inside. Obviously had that nasty collision with Ollie Lord in the second quarter of the preseason game against Port Adelaide. Yeah, I think he's touch and go for round one. And then there's, Liam Duggan, who's coming back from that concussion, trained strongly the other day for the first time that we've been able to see. Had the fluoro hat, which generally means no contact. He should be right to go for round one. He's going to captain the side in round one because there's going to be no Liam Baker, who's got a suspension.
Suspended, yeah.
So we keep, I keep forgetting about that, unfortunately, when I talk about injuries. Their defence is really what's been hit, though. So Brady Hoff played a preseason game in the Waffle at the weekend against Peel Thunder. He's coming back from an ankle injury, had limited time. Ruben Ginby's dealing with a bit of a toe injury. He was running the other day, and they're kind of putting him back in as best as they can.
I'm surprised he has some soreness or injuries. The way he is attacked preseason is unbelievable.
They got to hold him back at times. He's a really tough one to get through. So Ruben Ginby's obviously struggling a little bit with that. So their back line is just teetering on the edge here. But, I think it's going to present some opportunities for some young guys. And then you look at the midfield. Tim Kelly has a bit of a hamstring strain. He should be right to go. Jack Graham did that hammy in that a few weeks ago. He's going to struggle to get up. Tom Gross did the hammy in the injury club as well. He's not going to play. I think Graham's more likely than him. So there's a couple of guys on. Jacob Newton rolled his ankle early in the preseason game against Port Adelaide, played for most of it, was sat out the last quarter on ice. I think he's just being managed.
And, of course, Noah Long out for the season, really sadly for him. So put your hand up if you want to be a pressure forward at West Coast at the moment.
Well, exactly. And Tyler Brockman, who obviously we know has those off-field issues around the court case, has also got a bit of a knee issue, so an ITB issue. So he's still a while away as well. So it's going to be interesting. I think that'll leave Tim Kelly to play a bit more high half forward early on. Elijah Hewitt coming back from a bit of a calf niggle.
Kicked a few goals in the Waffle at the weekend, is that right?
Andrew McCulter in his press conference said he kicked about 3 goals in the Waffle preseason game on Saturday, so I expect him to be around the mark for round one. Interestingly, Bo Allen also didn't play in that preseason
where's
game.
Bo Allen at?
I don't know. I find it interesting. I think he's been leapfrogged by Josh Lindsay for a spot at halfback, and I think he's been leapfrogged by Dersma and Hamish Davis for a spot in the wing. So really, the onus is on Bo Allen to find a spot. I think he could play either of those roles. I think eventually he will be a midfielder, but has got to work for it. We kind of feel like he's been around for a long time. He's only been around for 12 months, 18 months. So, bit of leeway where there is.
That's a concerning injury list, and we haven't even played the first game yet.
But if you want to look on the glass half full side, Quarters,
let's do that.
I'm expecting 3 debutants in round one.
Let's do that. So from what we've seen in the preseason, they're going to be special players.
Exactly. So we're touching the giant wooden desk here.
We are. I'm doing it too.
But, sorry for anybody in their car who thinks someone's knocking on it. Willem Dersma will play round one. I expect him to load up on the wing. Yeah. Played a little bit of inside mid late in the game at the weekend. Don't expect him to do too much.
Beautifully
of that.
Balanced. Knows where the footy is. Knows great kick, great skills. Just needs to put on a bit of muscle.
Yep, had a couple of horrible kicks at the weekend, but I think that's a bit of nerves. First time playing in front of it was only 3,000 people, but it's something. I think you might enjoy the away game as the first game of his career. Cooper Duff Tyler, 100%, lock it in. Again, same touchwood. The one that's come out of, not nowhere, but, pick 19 last year, Josh Lindsay kind of got lost behind those two, pick 1, pick 4, there's a lot of hype around.
Played a lot of VFL though, didn't he, last year, Geelong?
So from Geelong Falcons, he's just so composed. He's a lovely kick. People are trying to figure out who he's like. I kind of like him as a Dane Zorko. Runs in straight lines. Obviously, he's a left footer. Dane Zorko's a right footer. But just the ability to run in a straight line, hit a target, and he doubles up. He goes for the handball over the top as well. Like it's not a. He goes for the 1-2. So he'll kick, he'll run past, he'll get the handball, he'll kick again. He's their best ball user at the moment by far, and he hasn't played a game yet. That's a big call, but he's a lovely kick. I expect him to be right around the mark. As for club debuts, Devon Robertson, the former Lion, I expect him to play. He was arguably their best at the weekend.
Nephew of Darren Glass, fits nicely.
Beautiful. And Harry Schoenberg would have, I expected, to debut in round 1, but he's been suspended after the preseason game, so he'll miss out. Jacob Newton, like I said, that ankle's okay from what we understand. So unless there's any setbacks with that, I expect him to play up forward in round 1. I know he's not a debutant, but only played 2 games last year, one as the sub, so is effectively a really new player as well. So there's a little bit to light their quarters.
What's the starting midfield look like? So Harley, was there any concerns about him coming off the field at the weekend?
No, he just had a bit of a knee knock, with another player. He was fine on Wednesday. So the starting midfield I expect to be Matt Flynn, Harley Reid, Tom McCarthy, and Devon Robertson, believe it or not. Elliot Yeo will start forward, I expect, in that new role he's playing, but will play a bit of midfield. And I think Elliot looked rusty
for
at the
Elliot too.
Yeah,
he's important to that mix.
Elliot Yeo looked rusty at the weekend, but I think the more games he plays and the more training gets under his belt, the better he'll be. Is he going to be the Elliot Yeo of once was? No. Will we see flashes of it? I think we will.
75%.
By mid-season.
75% is pretty good still.
75% Elliot Yeo is a very good Elliot Yeo.
Take that.
I think the mind wants to do what he used to do, and the body isn't going to let him as much, but look, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. It's a new midfield mix. Tim Kelly will run through there. Jack Graham will run through there. Elijah Hewitt will go through there. And eventually, like I said, I think you'll see Willem Dersmar, Bo Allen eventually. Like, there's going to be some movement there. Harry Schoenberg and maybe even a Finn McRae if he can get himself going. And Jacob Newton will pinch hit there as well. So there's options. It's just young. As I wrote at the weekend in my analysis quarters, the kids are all right, but they're kids. That's the problem.
How many wins? Where do they finish?
I think they get 4 wins. I think they finish 17th. I think they're better than Richmond. I think Richmond's older players are old. I think their younger players are really highly talented, and they're probably a year ahead in the rebuild of West Coast because of that reason. But I think they're going to be found out in some bigger games. So I expect West Coast to probably finish just higher than them. 4 or 5 wins would be a great season. But again, I know history will always say you're good by how many wins you get. For West Coast, it's just not about that. No. It's about making sure your senior players aren't injured, your junior players, your young players are developing, you're finding out as much as you can, and Andrew McQualter's instilling a game plan. We talk about a 1-win season last year being progress, which a lot of people will laugh at, but it was. It was a progress.
From where they were at, it was.
Because they weren't getting smashed by 100 points. They had a really good defensive system. They had a great offensive system, and they did it while their co-captain in Oscar Allen was basically 1 foot out the door, and there was a lot of talk about that. I think that there's a real changing of the guard. I think Andrew McQualter's got a cleaner run than he did last year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do with a list that really is now his.
I've got 4 wins too, and they will upset someone maybe in the murky depths of winter when someone's a bit vulnerable coming across and they're up and about. But I've got them finishing last. I think Richmond and North are still ahead of them in terms of their development at the moment. But I still think it'll be a step forward season for them. Now, Mitch, very sad day for all of us yesterday. Not only people in the media, but people in the sporting community and the larger community in Australia with the passing of the great Dennis Cometti at age 76. Our thoughts go out to V, Mark and Ricky. We were all touched at some stage by Dennis. He was the golden voice we all remember, very meticulous planner, that beautiful voice that resonated with all of us. I just remember getting here in 93 and Dennis was very, very generous to me with his time and didn't have to be. And I since discovered he was like that with thousands of people. But it certainly affected me, impacted me, made it my transition from Melbourne to Perth very easy. And I've always thanked him for that. And he was just wonderful to me. And he was just a very giving person. So there's been a lot of coverage so far, as there should be. Saturday's West Australian, pick up a copy because there'll be a 16-page commemorative lift-out celebrating the WA footy icon. He was more than the voice of a generation. Dennis Cometti was one of our own, Mitch.
He was. I was unfortunate to be probably on the end of his career, was the start of my career up in Perth. But when I first came up here to do sport, I was in charge of the tipping page, which, Dennis was on, and would text him every week asking for his tips. And he would always say, hello, Mitch, how are you? And text me his tips. And if he ever forgot, which was very rarely, he would ring the next day and apologise and then ask me who I put down for him.
It sounds like Dennis.
And Mark Cometti, I actually have I always say hello to in the box, and he's just a great reflection of his father. I've watched him wrestle before actually too, and I really enjoy talking to Mark, and so yeah, shout out to the family. It's Australian sport has lost a doyen of sport. It's for a man to be able to have such an impact with his voice alone, and I know it just wasn't his voice alone, but it could hold up by itself. And it was, what a phenomenal career, what a phenomenal human being.
Well, you've made an impact, Mitch, because this morning in federal parliament, both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition got up and said some very nice words about Dennis Cometti. So
that'll live on the record forever.
And that's the sort of impact he had. So, Vale, Dennis Cometti, we're going to miss you. Mitch, before we take a very quick look at opening round, we'll give our tips. Let's get the latest odds from TabTouch.
The Punter's Playbook, brought to you by TabTouch.
Well, the opening round is just hours away. It's so close. I can feel my tongue burning from that hot pie. I'm going to wash it down with a nice cold beer while I'm watching the footy. It'll be a thirsty Camel product, no doubt. But now it's time for Punter's Playbook for opening round, and I'm joined by TabTouch's Robbie Vaughn. How are you, Robbie?
I'm very well, Quarters. I'm excited like you, mate. We can smell that AFL season just around the corner. It's mere hours away.
And a few rule changes too, mate. So it's going to be really interesting. First month, I reckon there'll be a bit of a hue and a cry from fans, but then everyone will get pretty much used to it.
Do you know what? I just wish they'd leave it, to be honest with you,
Leave
mate.
it now.
There's changes every year. Just let us get used to something before you change it and confuse the umpires again.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's leave it where it is now. The one I reckon is the ruck rule. We'll just keep an eye on that one. Let's see where that one goes. But opening round, it's here. Who's hot for you?
Yeah, it's a hard one being round zero. Like, we don't know the form other than practice matches, which can be a little bit, you don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Gold Coast Suns, they were obviously hot at the end of 2025. The hype was starting to get a little bit real. Christian Petrarca coming into the side.
White hot now. They are white hot now.
Do you reckon they're white hot?
I do. No row, though.
No row. See, that's the interesting one. So, I don't know. Watch them for the first couple of weeks, but mid-season, they could be zinging, I think.
It'd be hard to beat at home. So what are they paying? $1.80 to make the top four?
$1.80 to make the top four, which the punters are loving at the moment. They're paying, it's around about the 160 mark, I believe, this week to beat Geelong. So that'll be a big watch. I think it'll be interesting to see how Geelong bounce back from that grand final as well.
Now, I'm going to pick the Cats in my top four because they're just so reliably there every September, aren't they?
Yeah.
But are they your cooler for this year?
They are my cooler, and you're right, Geelong is Geelong, so it's a bit rough, but a lot of people are sort of tipping him for that 15.5 and under from a wins point of view. I just think that you look at the stats from the last 30-odd years, since 1995, no team has lost a grand final by 40 plus and then come back to win a final the next year. So it's just a stat. Geelong's Geelong. They always sort of defy logic and they keep being there, but it's one to watch early.
If there's any team that's going to buck those odds, it's a Chris Scott coached Geelong team.
You know
that's
it.
for sure. Who's your hot tip for this weekend? And it's coming from the St Kilda Collingwood game.
Yeah, I thought this was a really interesting one to look at. So I've taken a same game multi. Callum Wilkie, 15 plus disposals. I just think he's that guy that doesn't get talked about enough, and maybe the attention won't be on him with that Nasiah
Co-captain
Wanganeen-Miller.
this year, I
He
think.
is co-captain this year, I believe. Yeah, so he's had that step up. He's going to have the responsibility. I like him for 15 plus. Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller, a 30 plus. And I think because there's been so much hype about him, he's going to come out with something to prove. And Josh Dacos, 25 plus. Everyone talks about Nick. Josh goes under the radar. He averages about 27 disposals. So paying $3.65, I like that.
Absolute gun. Often underrated obviously measured up against his brother Nick. Who's your player to watch this season? He's a local boy, but no longer playing here.
Well, Oscar Allen, you're right. He's gone on to greener pastures there at Queensland, or so he thinks. I would say it's a good in for the Brisbane Lions all up. But how does he fit into that forward line, mate? There's obviously
easily.
Logan Morris.
Yeah. He is. Logan Morris, how many goals did he kick last year?
53, I believe.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So he's a big watch for me this year. I think he's going to have another great year. Oscar, for me, I love the fit because he doesn't have to kick a lot of goals. He's just your hit up forward, bring the ball to ground, and we know how good those small forwards are. I really like what he does to that structure.
Yep.
Probably is going to be a fight between him and someone like an Eric Hipwood for that other position.
Yes.
So I think I'm a big yes for Oscar, as long as his body holds up.
Straight into the leadership group, I believe, as well. So not bad from Oscar Allen.
Oh, look, he's a decent human, and I wish him all the best over there. Robbie, been great to have you on. Good luck this weekend.
Good on your Quarters. All the best with it.
Tonight, 4:30 p.m. It's so close, Mitch. So close you can feel it. The Charlie Curnow spearheaded Sydney Swans at $1.28. V Carlton, $3.65 at the SCG. That Curnow-Wiedering matchup's going to be captivating to watch. I've got Sydney winning this by about 3 goals.
Yeah, I've got Sydney winning by about 20-odd points. Spoke to Luke Hodge yesterday about Curnow and the transition, and he said what excites him, though, about Sydney as well is, a fit Errol Goulden, a fit, a bunch of players that really missed last year with injury, all coming back. They look like they're at their strongest. A full year under Dean Cox. I expect Sydney to be a top 4 side.
No, I've got them top 4, but I've got them top 8.
Yep.
Definitely back in the 8. I'm very bullish about Sydney this year.
So, yeah.
Friday night, 5:05 p.m. People First Stadium. Gold Coast Suns with Petrarca, but without Rowell. $1.62. V Geelong, $2.30. They have their own injury issues. I'm bullish about Geelong again, only because they make me look stupid when I don't pick them in the 8. I've got them finishing about 3rd this year. I'm going to pick Suns in this one purely because it's at Carrara. Geelong has its own injury issues. I expect this to be a cracking game.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Suns. Jesus, Gold Coast are going to be the feel-good story of the year at the moment, aren't they? No Jamari Ugle-Hagan debut yet by the sounds of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Suns can produce. The fact they're on Friday night footy shows just how far this club has come. They're a proper club now, in my opinion. I can't wait to watch them play West Coast next week.
Saturday at 1:15 p.m. at NG Stadium, the GWS $2.75, Hawthorn $1.45. Both clubs have their injury issues. GWS probably more. Tom Green devastated by him missing the season. I've got the Hawks winning this one.
Yeah, I've got the Hawks just because of the injuries. I had Tom Green in my top 25 players and had to pull him the next day because
I had
he got
Finn
ACL.
Callaghan winning the Brownlow on the back of him playing, and now he's not.
Yeah, so it's really disappointing. But yeah, the Hawks should get this done. No better opportunity to get the Giants, who I think are a really good side.
The Gabba, Saturday night, 4:35 p.m. our time. Brisbane $1.45, Western Bulldogs $2.75. Most of us are expecting the Western Bulldogs to play finals footy this year and really challenge, but I've got the Brisbane Lions winning this at home.
So do I. Oscar Allen to make his debut for the Lions.
Good luck to
former
Oscar.
Eagles captain.
All the very best.
Clermont's saying Zach Ostelski, big fullback ruckman as well, can play both ends of the ground, can play really anywhere. He will make his debut after, this will be his 3rd season on the list. Yeah, his 3rd season on the list. So look forward to seeing Zane run out there. I don't know if there's ever been a double Z initials in the AFL.
Never. I would just tell you that off the top.
ZZ. So I hope he gets, I was saying the other day, or today actually, I really hope he gets a Rising Star nomination.
Has been in World Soccer. Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, can we get a ZZ top headline somewhere?
Oh, yeah, we will. Don't worry. Sunday, final game of opening round, the Bazaar game, MCG, 4:20 p.m. St Kilda $1.85, Collingwood $1.95. Collingwood, I expect to slide. St Kilda, I expect to rise, but not as much as some people think. I've got them winning this game.
Yeah, good to see these Queensland and New South Wales teams playing on a Sunday night.
Give St Kilda a bit of exposure. That's what it's about.
Do Collingwood know how to leave Melbourne?
I know, it's unbelievable.
Oh, St Kilda will win this, and Collingwood cry because they're playing a week earlier than everybody else because it's Collingwood. No, look, I actually like the Magpies, what they've done. Jack Buller, a Claremont product's going to probably debut for them coming from Sydney, but I don't know. I just feel like Collingwood are a little bit old. And I know we said that for the last few years, but I just wonder if it's finally going to catch up with them. So I'm getting the Saints, and it'll be interesting to see what Collingwood do this year.
Too old, too slow. See you later, Pies. Thank you, Mitch. You have been listening to The West Sports Show. For more, head to thewest.com.au. And remember, you can watch or listen to this podcast on YouTube Music. Catch you later, Mitch.
Thanks, Quarters.